I welcome Mr Hamilton-Smith to our ministry, and I know this has been a very difficult decision for Martin. It hasn't been taken lightly on his side, nor on ours, but he believes, and I believe, that this is in the best interests of South Australia. Obviously, in politics, there are differences of opinion. But one thing that Martin and I both share is a love and passion for this beautiful state and a commitment to ensure that it grows and prospers into the future. Today's decision draws on the best available talent that is available in South Australia to strengthen our government. It also says something about politics. I've spoken to you before on many occasions about people's disillusionment with politics. What today's decision, I hope, in some small measure tells us is that politics can work if people choose to work together. And most importantly of all, I said at the last election that we would govern for all South Australians, and the steps that I've been taking since election day have been about trying to, as far as I possibly could, replicate the election result in the arrangements we've made in executive government. And I think with the addition of Mr Brock and now with the addition of Mr Hamilton-Smith into the Labor team, this gives us the best possible way of representing that result, presenting secure and stable government for the people of South Australia, because we both accept that there are many challenges that face South Australia, and we're going to have to face them boldly, we're going to have to face them with some urgency and vigour, and I'm confident that Mr Hamilton-Smith and his talents will assist us in that regard. So I'd invite Martin to say a few words to you, and then we'll be available for your questions. As a matter of process, I should tell you that later today we'll be having a swearing-in ceremony at Government House, and tomorrow I'll be accompanying Mr Hamilton-Smith on a range of visits in relation to his portfolio areas, so there'll be plenty of opportunities on those other occasions if you're not able to have all of your questions answered today.
Thanks, Premier. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Premier. I'm delighted that the Premier has extended this opportunity for me to serve in government. I look forward to being a competent and effective member of the government. The government won the election and has a majority of 24. The election is over, and what we all in Parliament now need to consider is what is in the best interests of the people of South Australia. There are people out there who are employers worried about their businesses. There are people out there worried about their jobs. We have Holden on the verge of closure, and both the nation and the state face serious financial challenges. What the people of South Australia deserve now is good and effective government. They deserve certainty, and they deserve that the government that has a majority of 24 be able to get on with the job. And my decision today, I think, will enable the government to do that. I was interested this morning to read in the media the comment that the people of South Australia are tired of the finger pointing and want people to put their shoulders to the wheel. Well, I want to put my shoulder to the wheel and serve as a minister in government, and in the areas of investment and trade and defence industries, try and get out there with a positive agenda to create some jobs and build a future for this state. I think the Premier and I have one mind. We want to build things, we don't want to rip them down. And I can't see how uncertainty and political point scoring over the coming months and years will help the kids, the ill, the pensioners, those who may be in housing trust homes, those who may be worried about their small businesses surviving. I think it is time now to put the people first and the politics second. And for that reason, I'm optimistic that as an independent Liberal within the Weatherill government, I'll be able to make a small difference and contribute towards sound and effective government from this day forward. I think what South Australia deserves now is that the government that formed a majority after the election be able to get on with implementing its agenda in their interests. And I think what others in the parliament need now is the certainty of knowing the lay of the political landscape so that we can go forward together as a parliament in the best interests of the people who put us there.
Martin, how is this an act of total bastardry and treachery towards Stephen Marshall and the Liberal Party? I saw him half an hour ago and he had made no mention of this.
Well, I've spoken to Stephen in the last 15 to 20 minutes and explained my position. Though I must say, I think at all times in the 17 years I've been in the Liberal Party, I've been a pretty straight shooter. Now, I've given 17 years of my life to the Liberal Party. I've given it my best. But I'm here today saying I want to make a difference as a minister in government and try and do some good things to the people of South Australia. Now, I'm not so much focused on the politics of finger-pointing and rock-throwing. What I'm focused on is making a contribution. I have something to offer and I'm going to make it.
An act of treachery against the Liberal Party? You explain that.
Well, I'll make a simple point to you, Mike. You are elected as a Member of Parliament to serve your constituents and the people of South Australia, and if they are not your first priority, you need to have a think. Now, the party politics, of course, is a vital part of the whole business. But at the end of the day, the first consideration you must have as a Member of Parliament is what is the best thing to do for the people of South Australia, and that's what I have in my mind today. The politics of politics, there'll be people that come out and criticise my decision today. Fair enough, I'll take that on the chin. But what I'm thinking about is the contribution that I hope to make as the Minister for Investment, Trade and Defence Industries, which, with the challenges we face, are vitally important. And I'm going to work with the government and try and make a difference.
You've argued for more than a decade that the policies of the Labor government are actually damaging to the state, and how can you then be party to propagating that agenda?
Well, look, my responsibilities will be in investment and trade and defence industries, and can I tell you that in that area there is very little difference between what the Weatherall government has on offer and what the opposition had on offer. In fact, I would hope that when it comes to creating jobs, helping our businesses to trade and sell their products overseas, attracting investment and building defence industries here, that there's bipartisanship. And certainly that's what I'll be seeking. I've always enjoyed a very effective working relationship with coalition ministers. I have great respect and regard for Mr McFarlane and Mr Johnston, the Ministers for Industry and Defence respectively. I'm sure that relationship will continue. But at the end of the day, we are here to serve. We are here to serve. The Premier's given me an opportunity to serve. I'm going to accept it, because if I can help the people in my electorate and the people of South Australia by making a contribution, I'm going to do it. Now, there are others out there.
The people in White didn't elect you to be in a Labor cabinet. Now,
well,
and it's a blue ribbon Liberal seat. You could easily be chucked out at the next election.
Well, let me make it clear that I will be running at the next election as an independent Liberal. Now, you raise a good point. The people of Waite elected a Liberal, and they still have one. The people of Waite elected a Liberal who supports the family as the basic building block of society, who supports the general principle of small government and lower taxes, who supports individual freedom and supports all of the core values of a Liberal, and they still have one, all right? I don't think the people of Waite or any electorate wake up in the morning in love with any particular political party. They wake up subscribing to either a set of values or a set of policies, and they still have one. Now, I will be running at the next election as an independent Liberal. I feel for several reasons. One of them is, having made this decision, I will put myself back to the people of Waite. I will explain my position, and I will argue for re-election in 2018. Now, if, as you say, I am chucked out, well, so be it. But if I'm re-elected, as I hope to be, I'll continue to serve them, because at the end of the day, I go to the schools in my electorate. There are kids there that look in my eye and they wonder if they're going to have a job, and I want to make sure they've got one. I've got an opportunity to help build that future for them, and I'm going to take it.
What did Stephen Marshall say when you spoke to him, Martin? Was he, just give us exactly what he said, his first words.
I'm not going to reveal the detail of the conversation that I've had privately with Stephen, but clearly Stephen and others in the Liberal Party will be disappointed with my decision today. There is no question. And friends that I've had for a very long time I will lose. I accept that. But you know what? When you step into that parliament, you've got to have a little bit of political courage. And I stepped into that parliament to make a difference and to serve. For 17 years I've served, most of it in opposition. The Premier's been good enough to give me an opportunity to step up to the plate. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to do what I can to make South Australia a better place. Now, there will be people out there who view the future of this state in simple terms of one party fighting another, finger-pointing and rock-throwing. Well, I don't see politics that way. I see politics as an opportunity to make the world a better place, and I'm going to take it.
How did this arrangement come about? Who made the first approach? How did it happen? When did it happen?
I would simply say that the Premier reached out to me after the election through people that I respect and opened a discussion with me. We met yesterday and we're here today.
So what was the tipping point for you? What got you over the line? There must have been some catalyst for yours.
Well, I think many of the policies in the investment, trade and defence industries in the business space that Premier Wetter and his government have put on the table are sound. And I've got to say to you that some of the work done by Oren Roos, Manufacturing Works, a lot of the policies that were put out prior to the election and subsequently, there was very little point of difference between what the Labor government was offering and what the opposition had to say. There was general agreement. What we need is people of action to step up to the plate and try and implement those plans, and I'm going to play my part.
What about the government's position on taxation policy? Do you now agree that we have the correct settings?
Well, look, it's day. Okay, look, it's day one. I will go into cabinet to listen and to learn and to understand the government's full position on a range of things, including taxation. And I will make my views as an independent Liberal very, very clear. And I can tell you those views will always be, where possible, to try and get taxes down for business. But I accept that the state and the Commonwealth face severe and significant challenges. So I will be arguing my case. And the argument is simply this. I'll be better to have a Liberal independent voice in a Wetter or Labor government or no voice at all speaking up within government for the Liberal Conservative cause. Now, I think it's better to be there around the table being constructive than to be throwing stones from outside, and I'm going to have a go.
Have you just destroyed the Liberals' chances of, obviously there's some question marks over Bob Such's future, haven't you just completely destroyed the Liberals' chances of forming government at all?
I don't believe so. 24 beats 23. Even if Mr Such were at some point in the future to be replaced by a Liberal, it would be 24-23. My decision today gives the government some certainty. It simply means that I think we'll get better Parliament, I think we'll get better government, and to be frank, I think we'll get better opposition, because everyone knows the lay of the land now through the next election. Now, in regard to 2018, I would like to see, and I'm sure I will see, the government doing its very best to advance the cause of the people of South Australia over the next 4 years, and I'd like to see the opposition and the other parties doing the same thing by being a good opposition.
What if we have a by-election and we end up on even numbers? Are you sticking with Jay Weatherill for this full term, or are you opening the possibility of returning to a Liberal government? Well,
first of all, my understanding is that if there is a by-election in Fisher, it won't be even numbers. It'll be 24-23. That's the first point. Well, look, my view on that is very clear. Let me tell you, hung parliaments tend to last and tend to work. There aren't many examples of them not working. The Premier commands a majority of 24. I have no doubt that will remain. My decision today adds certainty to that. What I don't want to see over the next 4 years is uncertainty, delay and confusion, getting in the way of small business, getting in the way of families, getting in the way of dealing with the many problems we face. I want to be helpful, I want to be constructive, I don't want to be destructive. And that's why I'm happy to be part of the Weatherill government's team.
Have you been able to talk to the Premier about your idea that was a Liberal idea to create a one-stop shop for business, which is something that the government has obviously sought to do in some sort of way with its state development department? Is that something that you want to pursue even further?
Look, today's not the day to go to details such as that, but could I simply say this? My conversations with the Premier encourage me to the view that he is open to new ideas and alternative ideas within Cabinet, and I'll certainly be putting up a few. And I look very much forward to that engagement. And if the people of South Australia, as a result of today's decision, finish up with better government, then I'll be happy.
You're not any Liberal MP. You're a former Liberal leader. You tried to take the leadership, not 18 months ago of your party. You're a leader who was torn down by Labor. You had people who are currently in Cabinet who sued you. How can you make such a turnaround? I don't necessarily agree with all the propositions put in that question explanation, but I would simply say this. At the end of the day, we are here to serve, Nick. We are here to do everything we can as members of Parliament to make this state a better place. Now, I've done my very best over 17 years to serve to the best of my ability. It's been an interesting 17 years. The Premier's been good enough to extend to me an opportunity now to continue to serve, but to serve within government. And if I can help, I'm going to.
Have you given up on the State Liberal Party ever winning government? Is that why you've done this? Because you just want to have a shot before you retire and having a go in government? I
have no commentary to offer on the State Liberal Party. I have had many friends in the Liberal Party, and in particular, can I say that I have an abiding respect and admiration for the rank and file members of the Liberal Party. There are some good people in the party, as I'm sure there are in every party, both major and minor parties. So it's for others to comment upon and discuss the future of the Liberal Party. I'm an independent Liberal now, and I'll be doing what I can to represent my constituents and the people of South Australia as an independent Liberal and to work as part of the Wetherell government team.
Do you feel like a traitor from the party? Do you feel like a traitor to the cause that you've been fighting?
No, I do not. No, I do not. And I'll tell you why. Because my first loyalty and my first obligation are to the people of Waite and to the people of South Australia. And any MP who has any higher loyalty than that needs to think carefully about why they're there.
So can you just confirm this must obviously come with a guarantee of confidence in supply? And to what degree are you bound by Cabinet conferences? Are you able to speak out against the government?
Well, perhaps it's the same arrangement that was entered into with Mr Brock. We've reached and signed an agreement which in material terms is identical.
And
but are there any concessions on policy in the line?
No.
Mr Brock got a regional development fund. Have you got off? Have you managed to get away this time without having to give up anything?
Well, it's not a question of giving away anything. It's a question of what was the nature of the agreement. This agreement doesn't go into specific policy issues.
And on matters of legislation, are you bound to vote with the government on?
It's exactly the same arrangement. So notice Mr Hamilton Smith has resigned from the Liberal Party. He is an independent Liberal. He can advance positions which speak to his values and principles. If they're inconsistent with the government's policy position, all he has to do, as with Mr Brock, is to give notice, and he doesn't participate in those decisions. But the things he does participate in, of course, he's bound. The only other things are confidence and supply, and they're things which are guaranteed in the agreement. But he has all of his rights to express his independence on any issue.
And how many other Liberals were approached? Was Duncan McFetridge offered through an intermediary a ministry? And was Michael Pengelly approached about the speakership?
Look, can I say that? Can I say that there's been lots of wild speculation, which I'm not going to buy into. I'm standing here today with a very talented individual we're very proud to have as part of our ministry.
That's quite believable, actually, now given what's happening today. How many other Liberals were made approaches about positions?
I'll just leave that in the realms of the imagination of people that are advancing this proposition. Look, Mr Hamilton Smith, I think, is a prodigious talent, and you don't rise to be leader of the opposition without having capability. And I think the roles that we've provided to him, he's especially suited to. And of course, there are things about which we've really had expressed bipartisan support. So the areas of conflict are really minimal, and on these topics, and I'm confident he'll be a first-class member of our team.
Mr. Hamilton, how are you going to go working with Tom Koutsantonis? He was one who did see you. You're going to be closely working alongside him in an economic ministry.
Look, I have enjoyed my interactions with Tom. We're sparring partners from old. He's Greek, I'm married to a Greek. We're already thinking about a Greek mafia in Cabinet. I'm very much looking forward to working with Tom. I think Tom's one of a number of talented people in the government that have got a lot to offer, and I'll be making my contribution as it's sought to try and make sure that the government's able to get on with the job.
How did you sleep last night? How did you sleep last night, Martin?
5 years.
Sorry?
How did you sleep last night, knowing that you were going to announce this today and there would be a massive backlash from your Liberal Party members? How did you go through that?
Look, this is a difficult decision, all right? It is one that I have considered most carefully over a number of days and weeks. But, you know, at the end of the day, you have to do what you think in your heart is the right thing for the state of South Australia. We all have our political affiliations, but in my opinion, when you put your particular political party ahead of all other considerations, maybe it's time to go. At the end of the day, we are all here to serve. And for that reason, I'm very comfortable with the decision I've arrived at. I know that I will be disappointing a few people. That is the way life is, all right? But, look, I've been in Army Special Forces. I've been to some interesting places and done some interesting things, all right? Yes, it's been a tough decision, but it's the right decision. And for that reason, I'll sleep well.
Okay, thank you. Can I just...
the reaction from your colleagues? Obviously, you must have told them about this quite recently. What have they said to you?
Very supportive. They can see the obvious benefits for strengthening the government, both in terms of the talents that Mr Hamilton Smith brings, but also the obvious stability for the government, increasing our numbers on the floor of the Parliament. So it's been welcomed. No, none of them expressed concerns. All of them welcomed the decision. Every single one of them. But look, I'm sorry, I do have another meeting and there will be plenty of opportunities for us to catch up, but welcome.
Cheers.